Firefighters all over our area are battling multiple wildfires right now. The dry conditions are only helping to fuel those fires. Meteorologist Cassie Nall is joining us now. And Cassie, how dry is it really right now?
That I made the banner, "We need rain." That's how dry it is. Just straight to the point here. We are missing 7 inches of rainfall since September 1st. So in 2.5 months, we are missing 7 inches of rain. The normal would be 8.12. We've only had 1.07, basically saying we've only had about 13% of our normal rainfall just since September 1st. And the reason we mark September 1st as the date is, number one, it's an easy start to a calendar here for you. It's also the start of meteorological fall. Fall runs for September, October, and November in the world of meteorology. We do it by averages and by calendar dates. And that means that we have so far had the driest fall on record by far. We're talking by inches. We have had the driest fall on record. Now here's that latest drought monitor that Brittany was talking about. We've got that exceptional drought now extending all the way up the valley into West Knox County, southern Anderson County. We've got the now extreme drought, the red, going all the way up north of Crossville, Wartburg, and up to Maynardville, also expanding eastward in the valley as well, and severe drought now encompassing almost all of our viewing area. And we might get worse one more time before we finally start to see a little bit of improvement. And here's the reason why this has happened, right? Because a lot of people are like, I don't understand why this year is different than past years. It's the pattern that we've had set up. Notice how we have those drought conditions all the way from Louisiana up through Mississippi and then up into Tennessee. You can kind of follow the track right there. That's because that's normally where our moisture comes from. You hear Todd say it all the time, that the Gulf of Mexico is open or closed for business. Well, it has been closed by a long shot. And unfortunately, what that has done is allowed exceptional drought conditions to develop where we should be getting our moisture from, which is from the Gulf of Mexico and up and around. So until we see a shift in that pattern and the Gulf once again opens for business, we don't get moisture all the way up here in East Tennessee. We also haven't had any tropical systems. Normally in the month of October, you would see some development in the Gulf of Mexico, which would tend to bring some moisture up into the southeast, but we just have not had that this year. So now, when are things going to change? Well, taking a look at our Futurecast jet stream pattern here, here's a dip that comes through on Friday. That's going to be our next chance of seeing at least some raindrops falling from the sky. That's going to be mainly Friday night into the day on Saturday. Total's not expected to be impressive. It won't be a drought buster, but it's something. Then we move into the early parts of next week. Here comes our next trough of low pressure digging down into the central plains. Cold air coming in from Canada from the northwest. And notice this pattern is not, if you shifted these north-south, you would be pulling that moisture up from the Gulf of Mexico. But because these lines are running more west to east, it's pulling dry air out of Texas. So we're going to get moisture eventually, but it depends on when that trough actually tips and starts to tap into the Gulf for that moisture. Either way, Monday, Tuesday, our next chance of seeing some rainfall. Unfortunately, it might also come with wind because that's probably going to be a stronger low pressure system. Also notice the colors on the map here, the cooler shades coming on down here into East Tennessee as well. This is for Thanksgiving on Thursday. Keep it in mind as you're making your Thanksgiving plans, we might be seeing a shift from warmer to cooler by the time we get into the holiday next week. We could see below average temperatures. That's the outlook from the Climate Prediction Center. And we could see some rain. Now, what I want to say about this rain is that this is the forecast for the next 7 days accumulated. So that's taking into account maybe a couple of tenths on Friday and then what we see Monday into Tuesday. And that's where I want to bring in Chief Meteorologist Todd Howe to talk about this a little bit. Looking at the colors on this map, Todd, It's showing the potential of maybe up to an inch of rain, but we have questions.
Yeah.
We don't believe it.
Well, you've said, you made a great point. When you're in a drought, drought begets drought. Dry grounds kind of beget, and dry air begets more dry air. And it's hard. You have to have a really strong system to overcome that. And so these last few systems, you know, some of them, they a week out, they had promise, and then they closely arrived. They got weaker and weaker and light rainfall. So we would love to see an inch of rain. There's going to be an issue with, you talked about this, the downsloping winds in the mountains. That could dry it out. North Carolina may see some decent rainfall because that's upslope. Mountains and foothills may see a little bit of drying with downsloping. But at least, hopefully, we could see maybe a ½ inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch in some areas. And we'll take every little drop of rain that we can get early next week.
But what we're saying about this is, I know it looks exciting and it looks like it could be a good thing, but we have some questions about whether or not this will actually end up materializing. So check back for the updates, but at least we'll start to hopefully see a bit more of a pattern change next week.
That's the key. We need the pattern to change. We need more frequent wet systems moving in. And don't be surprised. You know what's going to probably happen when the pattern changes. That's right. We're here. Wham. We'll probably
hang
come
on to your hats. We'll keep you
talk
up to
about
date.
Snow showers early December. We'll see.